Good morning. My name is Kendra Riley. I have been an Arizona resident for 30 plus years. I won't tell you the exact number. My husband and I live in Ahwatukee with our 3 beautiful daughters, 2 of which were diagnosed with a terminal illness at the height of the global pandemic, which is why I'm here today in favor of this bill. I'll kind of start with how things went in March of 2020. Our 2-year-old at the time was having issues walking. We just thought she'd need some PT. Had to rush and get 1 million tests done, an MRI, various medical professionals to come in during the pandemic, which wasn't an easy thing to do. We got a misdiagnosis. 3 days later, thankfully, through a family friend, we met with a doctor, a neurologist from TGen, and he told us that our daughter had metachromatic leukodystrophy, or MLD, and that she would die by the age of 6. This is a genetic terminal illness for which there is no definitive cure. There's only potential treatments. Naturally, it's genetic. We have 2 other daughters, one of which was 5 at the time, and the other was 3 months old. So we had to get them both tested. Thankfully, our oldest daughter was fine. She's a carrier of one of the gene mutations, which means, like us, she'll live a normal life. Unfortunately, our newborn, Keira, did have the same disease. So we thought 2 of our daughters would be dying an untimely death. But we thankfully found one option for our middle daughter, Olivia. There was a clinical trial in Iowa that was the only place in the United States taking patients during the pandemic. And it wouldn't cure the disease, but it would stall it. And it would require weekly trips for us from Phoenix to Iowa. So we were doing that every single week during the pandemic with her, just to try and get as much time with her as we could. If a little bit about this disease is, it destroys the white matter in the brain. So very quickly, she's lost the ability to walk. She can no longer talk. She can no longer move her arms. She's losing head control. It just gets worse from there until she'll pass. So when we were in Iowa and we got the call that our youngest Keira had this as well, we said, okay, she's going to be in the same clinical trial. But thankfully, I was talking to an advocacy group called cureMLD.com, and they said, stop what you're doing. There is gene therapy treatment available in Milan, Italy, that could potentially save her life. Within 24 hours, they connected me with a team of doctors in Italy. If she gets this, she would be the 31st kid in the world to have this treatment. Kids that have had this treatment in the past, they've only been doing this for a decade, are now 11 and 12 and living completely normal lives. They're walking, they're talking, they're playing soccer and going to school. You never know they have MLD. So within about a couple weeks later, they said, okay, in order to have this treatment work for your child, because she's not symptomatic and she can receive the treatment, we need her here within a month. Then at that point, I was connected with the Goldwater Institute. We were talking about right to try, the original right to try, and if that could work for our daughter and getting something done here in the United States rather than fundraising hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to Italy. Unfortunately, that wasn't possible. The team in Italy was working on getting this into the United States, but it wasn't in place at that time yet. Had it been in place like it is now, we could have had everything here, done here. But we had to raise $500,000. We had a month to do so. We had to get passports for the girls, visas for the girls. We had to move Olivia's clinical trial to a site in Europe. She had to go to Amsterdam. And we needed my parents to come with us. Thankfully, they're both retired. And in a month's time, thanks to a PR campaign, the Armor Foundation, a GoFundMe account, we raised that money and we made it to Italy by the skin of our teeth. Our visas showed up the day before our flight. And we moved there for 5 months so our daughter Keira could get this life-saving treatment. The treatment, in that time was completed. Meanwhile, we were going weekly to Amsterdam for Olivia. We got back to the States in January of 2021. We've gone back to Italy once again for another checkup, and then have done another checkup at PCH. I'm very happy to say she's advanced for her age in communication. She's walking, she's talking, she's running, she's climbing. It's amazing. It's, things Olivia could never have the chance to do. Excuse me, sorry. So I'm here today in support of this bill, because if it were in place and we were going through this right now, we would get this treatment for Keira and we'd be here. We wouldn't have to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars, leave our jobs and our family and our friends, and go halfway around the world during a global pandemic to save our daughter's life. Now, thankfully, there are doctors here in Minnesota that are administering this treatment. The drug company or manufacturer, Orchard Therapeutics, they are approving this on a compassionate use basis, on a case-by-case basis. And we did help another child here in the United States get this treatment. The FDA does approve it on a case-by-case basis just because it is, I think, safety approved. I don't know the exact words there. But it is possible, and I know that having this bill in place would save so many lives because, like I said, MLD is a very debilitating disease that moves very, very quickly. The doctor said we had to get there in a month. As soon as symptoms start to show up, even not physically, but mentally, you don't have a chance. I mean, they're done and they'll be in hospice just like my other daughter is now. So I thank you for your time today, and I'm sorry for my my tears.
No apology necessary there. We're thrilled that you could be here to tell your story and that there's such a positive outcome for you,
Yes.
Despite what you had to go through to get that care.
Yes, and it's an amazing amendment to this bill, and I know in the MLD community how many lives it could save.
Absolutely.
So.
What was it like working with the manufacturers?
I didn't work directly with them. It was more through the doctors in getting approval. They quickly approved us on a compassionate use basis and said, yes, we know you need this, here's the drug. So then all we had to pay for were the costs at the hospital, which of course, hundreds of thousands of dollars plus the money to travel and live abroad for 6 months' time. But they were wonderful, and I know they're stepping up and offering the drug on a compassionate use basis to other children because they know how bad MLD can be and how quickly these children need it in order to survive and live a normal life.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Are there questions?
Okay, thank you.
You've said it all. You've said
you.
it all. I just am so, overwhelmed by what you've been through here, and thank you for advocating for this for others.
Yes.
I'm glad Keira's doing so well.
Yeah, my
God
purpose
bless
in
you.
life now. Anything I can do to help another family faced with this, I will.
Great,
So,
thank you.
Thank you.